Please wake up. This is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah!
NFL, Kansas City Chiefs, Washington Redskins. You need quite a few of these. I will go first because I know they're going to take us the rest of the way. Kansas City, you messed up. Washington, you messed up worse. This was a chance. This was a chance for the Redskins to make history. This was a chance for the Redskins to do something proper. And what happened? Just like they did in 1999 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they fumbled the football. Again. With Dan Snyder on the verge of selling the team, I'll believe that when I see it. You bring in Eric Bieniemy for an interview to be the offensive coordinator. That's a lateral movement, not a step up. That's a lateral move. You know, I always thought Eric Bieniemy would be the new head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs because he's been there 5 years. He's called the plays. Oh, wait, Andy Reid called the plays. Oops. So what happens? You basically jettison Eric Bieniemy and all of his problems, and he becomes the offensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins. Mr. Johnson, I pose a question to you. What is wrong with this picture?
Plenty.
Take it.
There's plenty wrong. Give me this camera.
Say that again.
There's plenty. Give me this camera.
Take it.
There's so many layers of I just don't understand this I could come from. I'll attack it from at least two.
That's all.
The first of which being, it's a wonderful thing that you did, Mr. Snyder. You interviewed a guy and gave him a job where 17 other teams who interviewed him did not. Everything was beautiful. You're doing everything you can, even though you have formed a toxic environment with the team that's called an R, the team that's called the Commanders, the team that's called Major Tutty. I don't give a crap what that team in Landover, Maryland is called, but you've made basically a cow dung out of the franchise.
Hail to the Deadskins.
You want the pat on the back, the attaboy, the I did something that 17 other clubs did not, but
Hold that thought.
you hired him as an offensive coordinator. He already had the position for a few years on another squad. So I want to say that Airbnb is hustling. I almost want to say he's hustling laterally, but I think he's hustling backwards. And why do I say that? This guy has been on a staff, on an organization, on a team that has the best offense going today, and we can split hairs over others. We can split hairs over the Eagles had a good stat line this year. The Bills, they look explosive. The Rams when healthy, they look good. We can talk about that. And the Cowboys, they score over 30 points a game. Yeah, all of that is fine. But the team other defenses fear more than any other in the league is the Kansas City Chiefs. And the guy who was the offensive coordinator of that team,
Was.
one Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Mr. Snyder, you can get the attaboys all you want, but you don't. You don't. 'Cause you had a chance because the guy, and look, I love Ron Rivera, but,
Mm-hmm.
but you had a chance to sort of right or wrong, so to speak. I mean, there's times I look at Rivera, at Coach Rivera, and I get that he's a player's coach. I get it. He is a player's coach. That
Mm-hmm.
people rally around him, and that he's a wonderful figure. But I also get that there's times where the message runs stale. I believe that Mr. Rivera's message in Landover, Maryland has run a bit stale.
It's run its course.
It's run its course there, just like it ran its course in Charlotte when he was the coach of the Panthers, and it looked like it was his time to go. And you would have ushered in somebody who would have had the opportunity to sparkle, to shine, to be that stalwart figure, to point that team in the direction that I think you want the team to head, if for no other reason than to not have people think that you are inept, and if for no other reason, again, as to not focus on your ineptitude, Mr. Snyder.
Say that again, please.
You would think that you would want to have Mr. Rivera removed. Not to say that he's a bad guy or a bad coach. Just I think
Mm-hmm.
his messages run stale. I would think you'd want to remove him. You'd want to put Mr. Eric Bieniemy in place because he'd be the guy that would point the team in a new direction. They would charge forward and everything on the football field would be fine. If for no other reason than to actually have people think that you have sense, but also for another reason that people won't focus on your ineptitude.
Preach.
But we are still focusing on your ineptitude even with this. Now, I directed it toward the franchise that has a W on the helmets. Now, the franchise that has the spearhead on theirs,
Mm-hmm.
the Chiefs. Now, I know it's been wonderful and it's been great because everything is great. Two world championships in 4 years. You've been the AFC representative 3 out of the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to the AFC championship game no less than that the last 5 seasons.
Yep.
Your seasons have ended no sooner than then since 2018. And every single year, Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
You even went so far as to when people were scratching their heads as to why he was not getting looks, that you were saying he's competent, he's great, he's wonderful. He is the reason why our engine goes offensively. Even with the understanding that Andy Reid, it is well documented, loves to call plays and he loves to diagram them and
Mm-hmm.
still does to this moment. In fact, there was a story, not a story, there was actually, yeah, there was a story where someone said, we almost look forward to when we get into OTAs because there's cards stacked this high with new plays that Andy Reid has diagrammed and strategized and drawn up. But every time we always talked about the offense of the Chiefs. Of course, we talked about Mahomes, and yes, we talked about Reid and his Waffle House one sheet. But every time the subject went to Eric Bieniemy, we always heard from Reid, from the front office, from management, from ownership, and even from
Mm-hmm.
the players that, quote, oh, EB, oh, he's the one who calls the plays, close quote. Well, if that's the case, why was it when Mr. Bieniemy got the job as now the office coordinator and, oh, I'm sorry, the assistant head coach, which makes it a little bit sweeter,
Mm.
of the Washington Commanders? why is it that when I looked at this article where it was made official, the verbiage I saw was quote
Here it comes.
dot 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 where he will call plays for the first time in his career.
Oh boy. Oh
Close
boy.
quote.
Oh boy.
So it means one of two things over in Arrowhead Stadium land.
One.
It means either Mr. Bieniemy was there for reasons that placated certain entities, whether it was Reed or Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, or Mahomes, whomever.
Or
He was
two.
there just to placate them, or it was a token hire all along. But see, I don't want to go in that realm because
Well.
I I fear I fear that realm because it means that the Chiefs organization is one big lie.
For the last 5 years.
And why do I say that? I say that because every time you ask the head coach, Andy Reid, and I have a lot of respect for him,
Mm-hmm.
well, about the offense and everything is fine. And we all know, and we hear it from my fellow colleagues, journalists who do know the team better than me. And they would ask him, well, we know that, you call the plays. You would hear Mr. Reed say, quote, oh no, I don't call the plays. Eric does.
Mm-hmm.
Close quote. This hurts my heart. This
Mm-hmm.
really hurts my heart, Mr. Reed, because I'm going to have to play this for you, for the Chiefs front office, and for the ownership group.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my gosh, stop lying. Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me. Yeah.
What every Chiefs fan should be saying right now.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to the other aspect of this. So yes, the office coordinator of the Eagles, Shane Steichen. Yeah, he's doing a real good job in Philly. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey,
No, he's not.
leave those to me.
Let's continue this double play. Playmaker, take it. Take
All
us
right.
home.
As you can see, I turned my head around. This means I mean business right now. NFL, Roger Goodell. You was at Super Bowl weekend. Mr. Trotter asked you a question about black ownership, black coaches, black executive, black news people covering the NFL. I don't know how much more money the owners are paying you to say the things that you are saying. But this has been going on for how many years, gentlemen?
Well, the Rooney Rule's in effect
Too
for 20.
damn many.
The Rooney Rule itself has been in effect for 20.
The Rooney Rule has been in effect for 20 years. It is 2023. There's only 3 black head coaches in the NFL.
Oh, the same amount as when the rules instituted.
Yep.
And the only reason why it's 3, and I hate to do this to Cole Johnson, that's because the Houston Texans like we're doing a revolving around door of black head coaches.
Look, you telling facts.
No lie found.
I can't hate on you for that.
Now, when it comes to Airbnb, 17 interviews.
That's sad.
17. Not one opportunity. See, you making the media. You making people like Stephen A. Smith, Brian Snow, Cole Johnson, Eric Wilson. I can keep listing people,
Mm-hmm.
Question: what is really going on behind closed doors?
Ain't that the truth?
For a guy who has 17 interviews, to not have one head coaching opportunity.
Not one.
But
Not one.
two of the Philadelphia Eagles coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators,
Both
did
got
get
jobs.
hired after losing the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Say that again.
I'm gonna repeat that. Two Philly coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators, get hired after losing the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Their resume doesn't compare to Airbnb's resume.
Not even close.
Not even
close.
Combined, they don't even come close to his.
Airbnb has been with the Kansas City Chiefs for 5 years. 3 Super Bowl
ability.
appearances, 2 Super Bowl titles.
And the worst that team's been is an AFC Championship game.
Andy Reid comes out and says Airbnb deserves credit. Patrick Mahomes comes out and says and Airbnb deserves credit. But when we listen to Greg Olsen commentate on the Super Bowl and how the Chiefs offense look, what does the name that he brings up?
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid.
Say that louder.
Andy Reid.
When we listen to Tony Romo call Chiefs games, what's the name that comes up?
Oh, Andy Reid.
When we listen to Iron Eagle and Charles Davis call a Kansas City Chiefs game, who names gets brought up?
The genius of Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
Not one commentator of the NFL for Fox, CBS, and even ESPN with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck ever bring up Airbnb.
Nope.
They all say Andy Reid.
You can add NBC too on that.
Game.
Oh yeah, we can throw Chris Collinsworth in there too. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the funny thing.
Uh-oh.
Here's the funny thing here.
Uh-oh.
Let's bring in my LA Rams. Sean McVay's the coach. Everybody knows Sean McVay's the offensive mind genius, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But ever since he's been there, every offensive coordinator he had got hired as a head coach.
That's
Mhm.
true. That's correct.
But when the Rams offense looks like it does, who gets the credit?
Sean McVay.
It's Sean McVay, the Wunderkind of the NFL.
So I don't want to hear about he ain't calling plays because Sean McVay calling the plays for the Rams, and he has to continue to replace offensive coordinators year after year. So what is it that you really doing with Airbnb, NFL? Owners,
Chiefs.
grab some balls and say it. You don't want them bad publicity? Hell, the Cowboys, they in the headlines for every goddamn thing you can think of.
Facts.
But we don't want black publicity on the shield.
Fact.
Now, I wrote the article, and a lot of people read it, and they all enjoyed what I said on the article. So I'm going to bring a little piece into it.
Uh-oh.
What is
Bring that
really
smoke.
going on?
Bring that smoke.
Because Stephen A. has asked the question, what is it? What is going on inside the NFL? Because there should be more. There should be more black coaches in the NFL.
Should be.
There should be at least 1 or 2 black owners in the NFL.
Should be. We should be an ownership group ourselves. Oh, did I
What
say
is
that
really
loud?
going on? Why is it that Brian Flores did the lawsuit that he did? Because he refused to lose a goddamn game.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Stephen
are at the
Ross.
point where black coaches are supposed to lose. Is that where we're going? If that's the case, why do we have the running rule to begin with? And speaking of the running rule, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Uh-oh.
Mike Tomlin has been a head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers for how long?
15 seasons.
How
Yep.
many losing seasons?
The
9.
next one will be the first.
Even the year where everybody thought Pittsburgh gonna have their first losing season because Mike Tomlin, they don't got the team. They still went 9-8.
Mm-hmm.
You have black excellence in Pittsburgh. And nobody wants to duplicate that in the NFL?
So,
No.
the opposite. Man, do you know how many times when during the middle of the season, when the Steelers have their rut, that everybody keeps saying, well, I think it's time for Tomlin to be moved out of that seat.
This man has been in Pittsburgh for Pittsburgh Steelers. The entire Pittsburgh Steelers organization had a total of 3 head coaches.
Three
in 53 years. I'm sorry, 54 years.
3.
Their last hired coach is Mike Tomlin, a black man who has been to 2 Super Bowls, has never had a losing season. And even this current team that he has still fights for him.
Every game.
Show how great he is. That shows how great he is.
Every game.
And you telling me nobody wants to find the next Mike Tomlin? Oh, let's find the next Sean McVay. You're not going to find the next Sean McVay.
Because there is none.
There isn't. There isn't one.
Oh, we want the next to find the next offensive coordinator to be a head coach. The innovation of what Sean McVay has done is awesome. Up in Pittsburgh, you have a guy who's been in the coach for 15 years, never had a losing season, and that's made the playoff more times than he missed. But yet, we sit here, and the only real team that we can actually think of for hiring black head coaches is the Houston Texans.
And don't get me started on that crap.
Save that for tomorrow. 2 minutes.
NFL, Roger Goodell. Y'all better get a reality check out this world. Because if y'all don't, it's going to blow up in your face. Worse than you can imagine.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
All right, I'm up. So is Cole Johnson and the rest of the crew. This is Snowman in the Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern on your favorite video and audio networks.
I can't